I want to basically talk to you about three things that I believe that are fairly important to businesses. And I'm not talking about the major businesses, because those are the ones that, although they can benefit from the internet, they are well known to their consumers. Brand is actually what consumers trust more. This is a fact. So really the challenge is for those companies, usually small and medium businesses that are not as well known as big companies, to really use the internet as a selling tool. So let me just briefly go through all these 3 points. They look a lot, but I'm trying to stick to the 5 minutes rule. Trends in consumer behavior. These are sometimes it's difficult to look at the future and try to understand exactly what are the key things. But to be honest with you, if you think about, go back to 1999, and could you imagine that the biggest retailer of music would be Apple, or that, for instance, the biggest maker of cameras would be Nokia? So those are really different. The differences that we have seen, or the changes that we have seen in these 10 years, are really amazing. And so I think that we should forecast somehow what's going to happen in the next 10 years, and understand what the generation that has today, 15 years old, would look like when they are 25. So, and this is a big challenge, because these guys are multitasking. They don't really care about privacy. If privacy, if they are willing to give information, if they get something out of it. So it's a totally different mindset from our generation. But we need to build the legal framework to work for the next 10 years. So how can we build a legal framework and a privacy laws and everything, thinking about what's the reality today? We have to think a little bit about the future. So let me give you just some hints that we have from consumer behavior studies. Broadband is really a key issue. Every country that has a big broadband penetration has usually also a big e-commerce penetration use. So, and this means that users want to have a fast internet. They want to have transactions that are being done fast, but they also want to have online what we call a near reality experience, which is basically to have to see the product, to see the information using videos, 3D applications, things that could change their world or the way they visualize the product or the services using this type of technologies. For instance, today you can see how an hotel looks like and use a 3D tour and see exactly how it looks like. You don't have to go there before. So these are the things that need to be online, and the consumers love this stuff. So this is something that resellers do have to take into consideration. The other thing is what we call the just for you concept, which is basically produce or give to consumers products and services that are built, or consumer think, that are built for them. For instance, a very interesting concept is the iTunes Genius, which is basically selects the musics that the consumer have on their database and provide them with other choices which are similar to the taste of what they have. So this is basically using information of the consumer, what their tastes are based on what they listen, and give them other choices for them to buy. The other thing is using the concept of an avatar, which is basically having another yourself, but use this concept on an e-commerce space. And for instance, a very good example is my virtual model, which is basically you give your information about your body, the shoe size, what is your all the measurements of your body, and with this, so you build your own virtual model, and with that you can go to shoe stores or clothes stores, and you don't have to give any information about the size of the clothes, because they will provide you that information up front. So you don't need to know if you are a 36 or a 45 or whatever, because with the information that the store has, they can give the products that you need. The other thing is mobile. Mobile is really something that is catching on, and all the retailers have to look at mobile as a very important tool to make e-commerce. For instance, there's a very interesting new development, which are what is called smart codes, which are basically 2D codes, like a code bar, but it's in 2D, and it can relate all the information that you have on the offline world to the online world using a mobile phone. So something like this, you see a billboard announcing the concert of Madonna next week, and there's a smart code there, and with your mobile, you can buy the ticket, you can download music, you can do everything with your mobile. So it connects the offline worlds to the online world. So these are the type of things that you need, resellers need to understand that are changing our world. The other thing is what we call the multi-channel relationship. The consumers don't care if you have a part of the company dedicated to offline and the other one to online. This has to be integrated. So the consumers today expect that, for instance, your bank has branches that will have an online service and also a telephone answering system. You cannot survive if you don't have all the channels available to the consumers. And this is the same thing for retailers. Retailers have to provide multi-channel access and integration to the consumer. Two last things, communities and social networks. These are very important. Consumers are interacting, millions of consumers are interacting today in social networks. And also, they are interacting in communities that are specifically related to their interests. For instance, moms. Moms like to interact in sites dedicated to motherhood. So either because they are getting pregnant, or because they are pregnant, or because they have been pregnant. So and the reality is that they interact. I can change the subject and go to pet lovers, like dogs, like cats, and whatever you can imagine. So these type of communities are where consumers are really interested on something very specific, can be addressed by resellers also to address these tastes to the products that they are going to deliver to these communities. And once again, privacy. Privacy is something that is very different probably for us or for a 15-year-old. And these guys are going to be the customers in 10 years' time. So let's try to understand exactly what this new consumer is and what is going to be in the next 10 years. It's our belief that, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, it's our belief that it's important to make an effort to build trust certification. So it's our understanding that both in Europe, in the US, and other countries, there has to be a common policy for trust mark programs, so that the consumer in the US, if it goes to a European site, knows that this is certified, and the other way around. So there has to be a program and a development around certification. It's very important. It will increase company and consumer confidence. It has to provide online traders with an instrument that verifies and shows the commitment to comply with the law and also with the best practices, and can provide the consumers and companies with an effective and fast dispute resolution system. So this is something that we feel that's very, very important. I'm not going through all of this. It's going to be on the presentation, but we believe that auditing and trust mark should be very comprehensive. We have seen that, for instance, in Europe, there are several ways of building the trust mark programs, and some of them are not good enough. What I mean is that if you give a company a set of rules and they just have to say that, okay, I will comply with those rules, this is not a trust mark scheme. This is because there is no audit, there is no checking of how reliable is that e-commerce player, how willing is it to doing all the things which are important for the consumers. Just to end, I think that it's important to also, and this is a challenge both for OECD, but also for the associations in each country. The representatives of the e-commerce companies in each country should also play a role in terms of the promotion of e-commerce, but also be a participant in the definition of the legal and fiscal framework, the definition of standards, and of course, in order to accelerate the adoption of e-commerce. So that was basically what I have to tell you. Thank you very much once again.